to Industry Insiders by Goway podcast series. Hear stories from industry experts, travellers, explorers and globetrotters who will inspire you to dream bigger, explore further and discover a new world. Today I'd like to welcome Mitchell Fawcett. Mitchell is somewhat new to Goway and is our VP of Marketing, and in his time here at Goway has wrought some major change to the company. A company that's coming up to its 55th year in business, and in that time has established its brand as one of the travel industry's most trusted companies. But before we get into that exciting change, Mitchell, you want to tell our listening audience a little bit about yourself before your time at Goway, please?
Indeed. Well, this is good timing. It's my 1-year anniversary
already
next week on Tuesday. Time flies. And before my fantastic year at Goway, I spent about a decade working in the marketing agency world. So
is that like ad world as such?
Yeah,
or?
Mad Men style.
Yeah, Mad Men style, right.
Totally.
Okay.
A little bit more technology than they had in the Don Draper Mad Men days.
Yeah.
But I actually founded my own social media and public relations agency called Motive Communications back in Vancouver. And that was, over 10 years ago now. And I founded that after working in the travel industry, going to hotel school, getting tourism and hospitality education. Okay. So I always loved working in the world of hotels and restaurants, and I especially enjoyed marketing.
Right.
So I found a way to channel that skill working across a lot of different travel, tourism, hotels, restaurants through this agency marketing model.
Okay.
So it was really great for variety. A lot of work running my own business, and I was eventually acquired by a larger agency called Major Tom.
Okay.
Major Tom is a fantastic digital strategy agency, and I worked there as vice president of strategy for the last 5 years before joining Goway.
All right, so you stayed with the new company as such.
I did, yeah, and it was great. It really broadened my horizons. It was what caused me to move out here to Toronto from Vancouver.
Yeah, so I want to just touch on two things. One I knew, one I wasn't aware of. So you obviously originally from Vancouver area, or
originally from Calgary, Alberta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Prairie Boy at heart, but the West Coast called to me right after college, and I was there for about 12 years.
Right, and for those who are listening, Toronto's head office is in Toronto. Though we do have offices in Los Angeles, Sydney, Manila, as well. So we're all over the place. And the other thing I didn't know about was, I knew you'd come from a marketing ad background, but I didn't know some of that was in the tourism industry. I thought the tourism industry was new to you here. Obviously not.
No, but I have been out of the game on the client side in tourism for just enough time to forget every one of these acronyms that are part of our day-to-day. And luckily have stayed ahead of the digital evolution of the industry, and that's allowed me to kind of step back in pretty easily.
Nice.
But it's a passion that really connects you to this business. I know you know that, and our listeners certainly do. So that always existed in the back of my mind, even when I was working for non-travel clients.
Right.
And during my time at Major Tom, I touched pretty much any industry or vertical that you can imagine. We worked across pretty much every type of business. Right. So my days could be spent worrying about anything from Rolex watches to not-for-profits in Africa to...
Which I believe you're involved in still?
Yeah, with Giants of Africa. Yeah,
right.
So that is still part of my life today, which is awesome. But I worked in B2B software, luxury retail, restaurants, pretty much everything.
So a true cross-section of product.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was great. I loved the agency world for variety, but I definitely reflected that the travel projects and clients were closest to my heart and really inspired me to get back full-time in the industry.
Nice. Okay, well, it's a year old, but welcome again.
Thank you.
So again, as I mentioned, Goway's coming up to its 55th year of business, which is in 2025.
Yeah.
And from my time here, which is coming up close to 20 years, our brand has been what it's been, the famous Goway logo and brochures, which we're phasing out of because of a whole lot of different reasons, which you'll probably touch on. So again, the reason we're speaking to Mitchell today is coming up this year in 24, preceding our 55th anniversary, is a new look. Mm-hmm. Goway, well, from my point of view, it'd be 3.0 because I've seen a couple of changes. I'm not sure what you're terming it as, but for our listeners who've been with us for a while, know the name, you'll see a difference across the board. from logos to websites. I'll let Mitchell expand on all that, but my question is, why the change and why now?
Why the change and why now? Well, it is extremely unique and pretty special that we have had our same brand for our 54 years of business. And if you think about it, there aren't very many brands in the world who look and feel the same as they did when they were founded, especially if they've been around for decades.
Yep.
So that is, like I said, not just unique, but special. And as an outsider, in my first year at Goway, it was a potentially delicate issue to approach. And I didn't want to necessarily come in guns blazing and just say that I wanted to make things new or exciting out of my own interest or to put my own personal stamp on it or anything connected to ego. When I had my first interview over a year ago, what really drew me to this company was how poised and ready they were for change and evolution.
Right.
So a lot of my success at Goway is just due to the serendipitous timing of a company like ours who has endured and thrived over decades of a very tumultuous industry. Many of the competitors who were around in our early days are no longer, and we are still standing strong. But of course, on the other side of COVID, the single most devastating thing we've ever been through, we had to really look at who we are, what we want to be, and who we want to become as a company. And there was a huge open-mindedness and willingness to change that I think was pretty new for us. So that, plus everything that we're investing in terms of our foundational infrastructure, our technology, our training, our global reach, the size and specialty of our teams, this isn't just a new look and feel. This is a new Goway. Yeah,
and I think that's a fair statement from, again, my time here, from what I've seen and what we will be seeing as this podcast goes live. It is a pretty, I wouldn't say radical change, but it's a completely different look to Goway than people are used to. And for those who may not know, the big history of Goway is it was established in 1970 by Bruce Hodge, and it's still a privately owned, family-run business as well. And over the recent challenge, COVID, Goway, because it's been managed so well and it's so strong, invested a lot of money when the doors were shut, like everyone else was, in, as Mitchell's alluded to, new technology. Mitchell joining us as well, new res system, new phone system, a whole lot of different other stuff. So, it is a new Goway from a look and also from an infrastructure point of view as well. So I will put up on the screen for those who may be watching this podcast. For those who are listening, unfortunately, you won't see it, but the new logo is up in front of you now. So the question is to Mitchell, what's the thought process behind the new logo and the color scheme?
For sure. So we can start with the logo, the color scheme, and hopefully we'll get into some of the deeper components of the brand and what that actually means. In my days of brand strategy and working with new clients on a rebrand, we often had to remind folks that a brand is so much more than just a logo and your colors. So we wanted to make sure that we holistically invested in this evolution. The logo, as you're seeing on the screen, though, is certainly the most iconic part of who we will become or who we are as of this podcast airing, which is exciting to think a couple months into the future.
Yeah.
So it's a complete departure from our old logo. Of course, the name is the same. The color is kind of the first thing that pops off the page. And this is a unique color that we've kind of exclusively defined for us, and we call it Aussie Terra. It's a nod to the outback, our Australian roots. So you see that kind of deep red with a little bit of an orange kind of undertone. And that also happens to be kind of a unique color in the travel business and something that we feel like we could really own just for us. Then we've warmed up the logo by using a serif font. So to be a little bit nerdy in terms of design, that's when you have the little tips or the little flares at the end of your letters, which has a bit more of a classic look to it. We're all lowercase letters now, which is an intentional choice as well. That just kind of, again, is a bit more about being approachable, warm, and friendly, a better reflection of what it's like to work with us and work with our team. And then the subtle design element is the tail on the G, sort of the top right. Instead of the typical tail for a serif G, this is actually an arrow, and this is meant to be a compass arrow. Yep. It's a nod to travel, to the movement, to the journey. And so we've carried that over onto the letter Y at the end of it as well to kind of bookend just with this little design feature to surprise and delight.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when you presented it to us, that was something you brought up, and it was, I think most people initially look at it as just the G, but when it's explained, it makes a lot of sense. And a lot of famous logos out there are not just what they appear on first look. There's a lot of deep meaning and thought that's gone behind it.
Indeed, yeah. And that compass arrow is a design element that we're pulling through into other visuals on the website. For example, if you see like a bulleted list, instead of just a circular bullet, you'll see that little arrow carry through. Some parts of the new website, your cursor will change into this arrow, and it's just a nice way for us to carry that through and make sure that this feels like a holistic look and feel.
Right. So on that, obviously the logo's changed, the color scheme across the board. It's not just the, sorry, what was the term? The Aussie Terra that changed. There's some accompanying color schemes that go with it. So with the new color, main color, and the accompanying, and the new logo and font, what's the vibe you're chasing for the company? What are you trying to present us as we, Goway 3.0? Sorry.
Yeah. There's a lot of self-reflection and alignment that's part of a rebrand exercise for a team, for a company. So you really have to think first about who we are, what makes us unique, what makes us special, how we make our clients feel, the emotional connection that we want to have, how we want to resonate through our communications. So what we realized is that we are... we're not a luxury travel agency. That's just not our positioning, and that's not what we want to be.
So I'd like to interject. If any of your clients out there do want luxury, we can accommodate luxury.
You bet.
Yep.
And I was right about to follow up with
my
that.
My bad. I stepped on your toes there.
No, not at all. I think that's actually a really important talking point and key message for all of us at Goway. Because we're not exclusively luxury, but absolutely we know it. We sell it. We service it. It's part of what we do. But to be exclusively luxury is quite a position. It's quite a commitment. And it's just not what we are trying to deliver. And we are more accessible for that 4-star product. And we are, like you said, a family-run and owned company. And there's a lot of heart in what we do. And there's a little bit of personality and a lot of fun in terms of how we like to do our jobs. If I'm honest, we just don't take ourselves so seriously that we need to be this ultra elite, really inaccessible brand. So that's a long way of saying that there's a little bit of warmth and personality that we want to infuse in the brand. So the colors reflect that. Because of my experience in marketing, I also wanted to make sure this brand had a lot of versatility, that we weren't so tied to a very specific look and feel or a color palette. So there's a number of complementary and secondary colors. We've got cream, mint light, this ocean blue, a darker sort of navy blue. They all aesthetically work really well together. But even as we've been rebranding and designing all of our materials, it has proven to be really versatile. So there's a lot of creative freedom within this look and feel. And that's just really helpful to ensure the longevity of this brand. Because trust me, none of us want to do this again for a long, long time.
I was going to say,
And for my design team to have a lot of fun with it.
The other part of that, which we were discussing before we came on air, is there is some, not comic elements, but there are, again, you give me the correct word. I view it. Illustration.
Yeah, that's
there
what
you go.
Might be getting at.
Yeah, so what Mitchell's done for us is he's asked all our staff, I believe everyone, all top to bottom staff.
Pretty much, yeah.
To submit a photo, and they have then caricaturized. Yeah,
sure, that's a verb. Let's do it.
Well, it is, all those images which will be used across, this segues into my next question, new website, and also in our marketing subject as well. So what's the thought process behind that element?
Certainly. And this is kind of a continuation of my earlier point, where we don't want to be so inaccessible and so luxurious, and we want to show off a bit of our personality. We definitely realized when we were starting to work with the agency who we consulted with for this brand strategy and this project, a great local agency in Toronto. They're called Therefore.
Okay.
And it's easy, and in my own experience, I've seen this where when you're designing a new brand, it's easy to take it into this luxurious, super sophisticated territory. I don't know why, but it's just sort of a natural movement as you see the different mood boards and stylescapes to kind of be drawn to these things that look so polished and so beautiful. But if that's not a reflection of who you are, then you're doing yourself a disservice. So this is yet another way that we were able to kind of round out the personality in the brand. So we defined a really unique illustration style, and it's inspired by a French comic book style called Linclair. That's not the name of a person. That's the name of the style. It's translates to clear lines. So it's a bit simple. It's a bit on the minimal side while still being fun. So you have clean lines, simple colors, not a lot of shading or three-dimensional depth or anything like that. It's probably most recognizable from the comics called Tintin. Most people know those from the 40s or something. So that's a French style that's evolved over time. So that felt right for us. It also opened those doors so that we could illustrate our team members. And so it helps to kind of make a bit of distinction. If you're illustrating hundreds of people, you need to make sure each of those illustrations looks unique. Yours I loved, by the way. You submitted a photo of yourself.
I haven't seen it yet.
On the Sydney Harbour Bridge, if I remember. Very bold choice. Very on brand for you, Don. And so now that gives us the consistency on our website because we have a photo and a profile for every single destination specialist, which is really important to us. And we want their personality to shine through. We have a full biography. And now all of these illustrations have this kind of uniformity, which is really nice.
And for those who might be watching, I'll throw a few of these up, just to give you an element of an example. Probably Mitchell and I will go up there, so you can hopefully see the similarities there. So as I mentioned, as part of that, it was a segue to the next question is, in my time here, we've gone through two websites, the original, which I can't remember what it looked like, to the one that most people hopefully be familiar with now. And by the nature of Goway, and there was a word that Mitchell used earlier when he was talking about our field not being exclusively luxury, which we're not, because we're not exclusive to any particular travel type. We do all travel types. And as a reflection of that, our website has been quite heavy in information and content because we do everything to all 7 continents. So, and we customize, which means it's not a cookie cutter. We have samples up there, but it's not cookie cutter. So therefore, by its nature, it expanded, and tons of information, really good information, but new brand, new look, new website. So I know a lot of the design elements are being moved across to the new website. So do you want to just talk about the new website, what it will look like, what it will do, what it won't do?
Oh, yeah. This is a really impressive evolution for us. A big change from the current site or the old site as of this podcast airing. And a massive investment on Goway's part. This is an expensive machine.
Yeah, they are.
And a lot of fun to build. The same agency called Therefore is our partner in building this. And to your earlier point about the complexity of the old site, there were 70,000 pages of content.
70,000, wow.
70. I've never encountered a site that complex in my career. Major Tom was also involved in website design and development. And the depth and breadth of this project is mind-boggling. We have some incredible team members in-house here who are bringing this to life. When I say some, I mean close to 100, I'm sure, have been involved and are touching this at any given time. We have distilled it down to 5,000 pages as a rather stark contrast. But what's interesting is that all of that content is really a big part of Goway's secret powers. It helps people learn about what we do. It helps them discover the depth and breadth of our product. It helps inspire, inform, and train. So for the advisor community that we work with, it can be a fantastic education tool, and most importantly, the sales tool. So the new website is really designed to organize that massive amount of content, including the 1,000+ itineraries that we have on that page, on the site, which, to your point, are designed to inspire for the tailor-made travel that we ultimately specialize in. And then, our new website is on the older side. So a lot has changed technology wise. So of course we've considered everything about performance, accessibility, and then
mobile application, all that type of thing.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. The mobile and tablet experience. And most importantly, I think, is the rich media that jumps off of these pages. So the fantastic libraries of photos and videos that we have to help learn, research, and inspire.
Yeah, I think that's when I saw a preview of it. That's one of the biggest changes. When you look at anything for a long time, it just becomes the norm. Mm-hmm. Even a slight tweak can be woo, but this is a complete overhaul, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think the most emphatic change and positive change is the visuals, because it's a lot of it, I think, is video based movement. Mm-hmm. There's a much more minimalistic feel to it compared to the old site, for sure. And again, key to what Goway is that as we customize, tailor made, this is really the inspiration landing spot for you and your clients to look at ideas, because we've never, even our brochures were never like itineraries. They were we've always marked as travel ideas, because that's what we do. Here's an idea, twist it, tweak it to you and all your clients' liking. So, the quick look I've seen of it, it's an amazing site for those who've worked with us for a long time. You'll be blown away, and I think it's much easier to get around as well.
Definitely, yeah. And so our advisors were always in mind as we built this, because we interviewed many of them, by the way, in the early developments, as we were trying to understand the right structure, the right flow, the user journey. And so we are... We had a better understanding of how our advisors use the site and how they discover on behalf of their clients. And it's not just based on the destination. I know our advisors don't always hear from their clients to say, we want to go to Egypt now. Now it's a lot more common that they'll share their travel styles or their preferences or other ways of discovering and exploring travel beyond just the geography of it. So it's really a new way of organizing that and increasing that discovery, because another one of our superpowers is the depth and breadth of product that we have. It's great. It's why so many advisors can trust Goway to help them achieve what they need to. All 7 continents, 117 countries currently.
Yeah. So on that note, because we do have the destination specialists in-house, we won't go into them because that's not about them today. But we have expanded with our destination specialists to handle the rebound since COVID. And again, as I've been here quite a while, I've seen the marketing team go from, I wouldn't say one-man show by any means, but a small team to, since Mitchell's joined us, or prior to Mitchell we were expanding, but since Mitchell's joined us with his experience, he sees and knows what a marketing team needs, particularly for a company as big as Goway and also a company that's looking to change its feel and look. So who are your team? You don't have to name names unless you want to, of course, but just give us an idea of like the recent growth of the Goway marketing team and the investment we've made in them and in turn the company's brand. Yeah,
certainly. Yeah. The team is comprised of 15 folks at the moment, up from, I think, 8 when I joined.
Yep.
So expansion has been really key. And this aligns with Goway's growth and scaling objectives as well. So we're aiming to expand our global reach, do more, do better, serve our advisors more efficiently. So it's always with our company objectives in mind that we build the marketing team to make that happen. And so what we were in a position to do was really increase our specialization in key areas. So rather than generalist roles, we kind of broke it into more specialization. For example, search engine optimization, email marketing, paid media, content, social media. Yeah, exactly. So one of the more recent exciting hires that we had is a dedicated social media specialist. So anyone that's been following Goway since probably around October, November has probably seen a substantial change in our content and what that looks like. Don, you've been a great part of that, and thank you.
No worries.
We also listen to our advisor community and understand better what they want to see on social and how we can help them do their jobs better. The Goway sort of main account has changed a lot. And then, of course, we've also launched the new Goway Pro Instagram.
Yes. And I'd just like to do a shout out here to Michaela, because to your point, our social media was bare, to say the least, prior to your starting, and then Michaela is our social media lady. And it's increased in quality and presence tenfold since she's been on. She's doing an awesome job.
In fact, 2,500% increase.
Well, there you go. The exact stats. I like it.
Engagement.
Nice.
I had to pull that number for a board meeting earlier this week.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. It's made a huge difference. Just one thing I want to touch on here, as people who are listening closely, they would have heard it, but I'd like just to bring it to light that this decision of branding and expansion of team and specialization of duties, though always thought about, it's not an overnight process, and a lot of thought's gone into it, and you've touched on it a few times. I'd just like to highlight that we didn't just do this in isolation in regards to website design and functionality. We spoke to our travel agent partners to see what they wanted, what they would like in social media, etc. So again, it hasn't been done in isolation. It's been done, as always, with as much thought and care about our travel partners out there to make their life with us, from a booking to inspirational content, as relevant as possible.
Absolutely. And we're just getting started on social and everywhere, to be honest. But, when this podcast airs, we're still in the planning stages for our next fiscal year, which runs from April 1. And a lot of what we're focusing on is sales enablement for advisors through social media.
Oh, okay.
So we're really going to improve and do more there.
Let me just jump in, because that was my next to last question. What is your vision for our marketing, brand awareness for Goway's move forward into the next 50?
Yeah, so that's one example.
Yeah.
Did you say the next 15 years?
50.
Whoa, okay.
Well, okay.
I love that big picture.
It's a marketing term. Next 50. You've done 50. Well, I should actually be saying the next 55, as our 55th is coming up.
Absolutely.
But you know what I mean. What's our look? What's your vision for the foreseeable future?
Indeed. So just to continue on with that social media example, we really want to make sure that agents, especially the independent agents, have access to content that they can share on their own channels, some training or enablement on how to use social to sell better, libraries of content to draw from at a whim, and then strengthening and growing these trade communities that we have, the private Facebook group that we have that's really thriving, and then the Instagram Pro account that's launching or that's recently launched as well.
Right. So that's always been a core to Goway too, is assisting in education of our travel partners.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to throw in a plug for myself here, because one of those initiatives was the Goway Pro Travel Academy, which I sort of spearheaded coming out of COVID. And hearing some of the stuff that Mitchell just mentioned, I hadn't heard before, but I think there's also some possibilities of the academy being involved there to help educate with how-to videos and stuff on the social media aspect of it, because a lot of people know it but don't know how to, as you mentioned, utilize it themselves and rebrand, or not rebrand per se, but repost and use for their own marketing purposes. So going forward, we have everything that Mitchell's mentioned plus more as things develop. We currently have the Goway Pro Travel Academy. We have a Goway Agents Only website, which has all the information there as well, which will get a new look as well as part of the rebrand, correct?
Yes, current GowayAgent.com will get a light cosmetic refresh to start, but a full overhaul and redesign along the same lines as the main Goway.com, plus a new advisor portal that's in development right now. Won't speak too much about that, but it's not going to be too long before launch. And so those digital properties, again, like you said, really just designed to equip, educate, enable. So we're going to have more and richer content to help do that, and then just a better user experience on the different platforms as well. Yeah,
and just to add, again, those who may be listening to us for the first time or still new to us, we have the website as mentioned. We have a Goway Pro rewards card, so you can earn money through bookings. We have passport to a free FAM as well. So there's lots of other elements, not necessarily part of the branding thing, though they will have a new look, but elements of education and support, which Mitchell's alluding to from a marketing side, which are there right now, which you can utilize.
And what's beyond that? Those are a few more tactical examples that are honestly in the year ahead. And 55 years from now, who even knows what the technology will be?
Exactly.
I mean, I kind of want to get my hands on the Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah, I was watching TikTok of that today or yesterday, and this is from an F1 point of view. There's, again, it was an idea, not that they can deliver the ship, but it was basically you put these on, you watch your F1 on the TV, but in front of you is a 3D map of the races that's going on with all the technology. And they said doable if Apple want to do it. So
yeah. So that's an era of spatial computing, I think is the term, at least for today, until they come up with something different that's really cool.
We just have to be careful that we don't make that too real that people don't want to actually travel.
No world where that would be the case. No headset will ever be a substitute for a true experience. And if anyone who's listening to this is a marketing nerd and is wondering about what we're doing with AI, I mean, man, is that a fast-changing landscape. But what we do as travel advisors is beyond exceptional and beyond what anything a computer could ever come up with. It's our expertise, it's our human stories, it's our
100%.
It's the human side of who we are and what we do. So sure, it might help most of us do our jobs a little bit more efficiently, and we're beyond open to how AI could just help make all of our jobs a little bit easier and serve our clients better. But we offer something that a computer never will.
100%.
And leaning into that, demonstrating the value that we serve beyond technology, the depth and breadth of our experience by living or traveling extensively in the destinations that we represent, that will always be an edge.
Yeah, I learned from when I was a travel guide that, we didn't have to learn this as a travel guide just by traveling. That it's such an emotional experience that, you can go book something directly online and still have a great time. But again, the type of travel Goway does is not that. It's not the sort of cookie cutter book online. No. It's customized, bespoke to the client. Therefore, you need that one expertise to advise on the right way to do it, safest way to do it. But also, it's not just the logistics. It's also designing it so the end user is getting the experience they're looking for. If they're into photography or cooking or textiles or sitting on a beach, we can do that as well. So to your point, it's yes, AI will enhance and help, but I don't think, or not in our lifetime, will ever replace a good travel expert advising on the best way to do things. Okay, so there you go. That's our new look. It's in front of you now. Again, I just want to highlight again, a lot of thought's gone into this. It wasn't an overnight thing, wasn't done in isolation. There has been a ton of work. I've been involved a little tiny bit on the outskirts, but I know Mitchell and his team have just literally been neck deep in this for the past year and a half. And not just his team, as Mitchell alluded to before. This has gone through all our different departments, from retail to our wholesale to our operations team, everyone. We've done as much research and planning on it, I guess, as you can do. There will be things missed. There always is. But yeah, it's from my experience being here at Goway for 20 odd years, and someone like Bruce, the owner, he must have seen some changes. This is a pretty dramatic visual look for us, but I think it's not just visual. It's also a lot of back end stuff that you will see now and into the future, particularly as Mitchell's team gets into the educational side of marketing, I guess, where what we create, our travel partners can use for their own benefit in marketing and in turn sales, what is at the end of the day what it's all about. So on the note, I'll give the mic back to Mitchell if you'd like to summarize or mention anything we might have not touched on.
Yeah, I always want to give a tip of my hat to our president and founder, Bruce Hodge. I know this was not an easy exercise for him, having literally lived and breathed that brand since day one. So I admire his openness and vision in sort of recognizing this opportunity, allowing me and some key stakeholders at Goway to kind of run with it, and just to recognize that we are a new Goway, and that he himself is defining a pretty substantial new chapter in his own world, and I'm feeling very fortunate to be part of this company and have had this really remarkable journey for my own career and also just to be part of something this large. It's pretty cool.
It's a good company. I'm an example. A lot of people have been here a long time. Can't be that bad, I guess. But again, we have new blood coming in, making the company bold, bright, new and shiny. And I think everyone out there will like the new look. They will like the new functionality of the websites and everything else that's going to come with it. On behalf of those who sit behind this change, I'd like to thank Mitchell and his team, because it has been a ton of work. And for people who have lived with that look for so many years, the new look is awesome. It looks really good.
Thanks.
And I think you're hitting the areas you wanted to hit. And I hope our viewing and listening audience agree with it. So you will be seeing the new Goway, and stay in touch for more updates and changes.
Awesome.
Thanks, Mitchell.
Thank you.